Hi guys, happy to be back and I hope you are as excited as me to see that before Lightroom has AI masking, now Darktable is getting it too. And this is really a super fantastic feature and I will show it to you right away. And I'm happy to see that we are making some steps forward, not on every area, but on really some very interesting areas right now. So before you looking at your Darktable and where you can activate AI, I need to do a big disclaimer here. Save the date. It will be released on the version 5.6 of Darktable that will be released on the 21st of June. Right now I'm using a nightly build that you can also download if you want to try and play. For me, it has been quite stable on Mac, so again, I would not guarantee anything, but if you want to experiment, please feel free to experiment with taking all the caution on your database from Darktable before from the stable version, but this is really super nice. Save the date for the 21st. Going back to AI, what is this feature here? Right now it's powered by local model and Darktable will let you, as always, choose and get I would say to use which model you want to use, so it's really powerful on that. By default is coming with the SAM2 model and the SegNext model. Right now I'm using the SAM2 model. SAM2 model is the Meta AI model, which stands for Segment Anything 2. This is the same kind of generation that Lightroom AI is using for the subject background mask and so on. So this is really powerful. And once you have downloaded the model, once you have set everything up, I can briefly show you here, but it's really clicking on an object and this object will be automatically selected very quickly. It will save you a lot of time. It will save you sometime a lot of, I would say, headache to detour things. But we will see it. It's not always perfect, and there is still some tweak behind it. What is important here, and you may already realize it, it's that it's a vector pass when it's doing the masking. So it's not a raster mask. It's really a vector pass, meaning that you can edit it afterward. You can also scale it and it will be completely resolution independent. So this is really, really powerful on that. Now, without further ado, I will show you if you want to download this nightly build or if you wait for the 21st, how to activate the AI first. So this is very simple. You go to settings. Once you are in the settings, almost at the end of the list, you have AI here. And this is very simple. You just tick the box of enable AI features. Then there is a choice of AI acceleration. So for those who are on Mac, usually I think it would be the two options. On Windows, it may give you the option of your graphic card. And I have do a big disclaimer here. It seems that on Linux, it's not as simple to set up as on Mac or on Windows right now. So here I choose the Apple Core ML acceleration. You can also leave it on auto and then the software will choose by itself. I use it on Apple Core ML and it's kind of okay. It's analyzing my picture in a couple of seconds. It's very, very quick. Here, once you have selected your model, it will download it. And the model usually may have different size. Here, if you see, there is a description of the model. There is the number of training that it has done and so on. This is something that is downloaded locally, meaning that there is no data leaking out outside of your computer with that. Once it's done, depending on your internet connection, it will take more or less time, but you do it only once. Once it's done, you can start to use the AI part. What you will need to do first of all is to understand how you can and where you can apply this masking. For this, it will be very simple. For those of you who know already how to do drone mask, it's exactly the same way at the beginning, and then you just choose a little bit differently. If you do not know how to do drone mask, I will link my video here. You can have a quick look here, or you can stay with me here and look at the video after. But basically, the mask, AI mask, can be applied where the drone mask could be applied. And as you know, it can be applied on different modules, and it can be also moved from one module to another. So here, if I go to the exposure part, back to show you, here I choose the exposure module. Then I choose, of course, the drone mask here. So going back here, drone mask. And then usually you could brush, you could add some circles, some ellipse. I was explaining you last time a lot about the path. Here you have this small star here that is add the AI object. This is looking like Gemini logo for me, but anyway, you just click here and your cursor is changing to a plus sign, and you have a quick hint on the bottom of the screen that is saying click on an object. So here you want to click on this very nice goat here, and you see that automatically it's selecting the goat. Of course, it's still AI. It will depend on the background. It will depend on a lot of different parameters. So it's not always perfect. Sometimes it can be hit or miss. For the sake of the demonstration, I choose this very simple picture, which is most probably not the nicest, but that gave me a kind of a good background and foreground, so I can really work on that. So once I've done this first click, I can of course zoom in, and I think it's always interesting to look here. If I zoom in here, you see that there is some errors, or that the selection is not perfect. So once I have this plus here, I can just add some of the areas here that are not covered, and it will add it like that. So you see here I corrected the here, sorry, and it's a little bit better. I can also, if I want, by just pressing shift click, I can also remove some areas, saying that, for example, yeah, this maybe is going a little bit too far. I can just shift click, and then it will remove this part. Shift click here, and it will remove this part. So again, you can try to play with that, but you see here it's created some weird artifact. Or you can also edit it as I said before, a vector path. So meaning once I'm okay-ish with that, I just right click, it saves my path here. As you know, for the drone mask video that I'm sure you have looked at before, you find your shapes here, and you can always go back here and edit the shapes. So I will not show you how to edit the shapes. I will link back to the previous video. But again, here you can really play with this type of things, which is for me the really powerful part of this AI masking. Is AI, but you still keep a lot of control here. So this is, I would say, a very good start, and then you fine-tune it by yourself. Again, here I will not walk you through every details, but you can, of course, as every drone mask here, play with the different adjustments to try to have a little bit better masking here. This is, I would say, a very quick demonstration of that. Of course, you can always, if I zoom out here, you can always add some new mask. For example, here I say, okay, I want to use this, just this rock. You see, it's kind of quick, and it's not so bad in terms of designing the shapes. So this is really this quick demonstration. Of course, there is some limitation. We have to be honest about that. For me, it's fine for most of the objects, but if you have a very detailed objects and so on, it may be a little bit tricky, for a reason that there is a limitation on the mask resolution, the internal mask resolution, that is 256 pixels by 256 pixels. So it's not at the pixel itself. And for very fine details and so on, you may find some kind of limitation, but once again, as soon as you can edit it later on, it's really for me not the biggest limitation about this part. If you want to, I would say, start this way, I would say it's doing 80% of the job, and then you need to still do 20% of the rest of the job to fine-tune your mask and to secure that everything is perfect. That said, when I read through the different forums, they are saying that this feature will still evolve after the release of the 5.6, and the edge accuracy that they call should be improved and will be better and better. Of course, as AI is evolving, as the number of model and that the size of the model is evolving, we can bet that it will get better and better. This is all for me today for the masking part. You see that it's on one side a very powerful new feature, but they still manage to keep it integrated in the Darktable way of working. So for me, I found it quite intuitive actually, and I think it's really awesome to be able to quickly edit some things. Here you see that the fantastic goat here on the top, I've been able to deteriorate and have it here on the background with a good exposure, and it doesn't sound like too fake. Maybe I would tweak a little bit or blur some things, but it's not as, I would say, edgy or whatever. It's respecting all the different details of the goat. So I think it's quite powerful. I'm sure for those of you moving out from Lightroom and coming to Darktable, it will be quite a relief if you are used to this type of masking. Once again, this is still Darktable functionality, so we stay local, we stay open source, we stay under control. So this is very important. Stay tuned for the 21st of June where you can download the stable version. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to see the next video, especially the one about AI and denoise that I think would be quite excited also. Do not hesitate to leave a like, it's really helping me a lot. Leave any comments if you want to know more or if you have anything that I've seen that I've missed in this video. Thank you very much guys, and hope you enjoyed this video.